if you want to extend your GI Bill to their bachelor's degree, you got to do 5 years. If you want to extend it to their master's, you got to do another 10.
No, so the GI Bill is only set for 36 months. It's post 9. Actually, well, it's post 9/11. It used to be the Montgomery GI Bill, but now it's post 9/11, and it's only good for 36 months. And they do it based off whatever day your school starts and your school ends. If it's 5 months and 4 days, then they minus that from your 36 months.
So there's kind of that incentive then for you to finish quicker, to get it paid off, to get it mostly paid off through that post 9/11 bill. Gotcha. Yes. So, and
they also offer tuition assistance as well for the military. You get up to $4,500 a year while you're serving as a reservist or active for the service member to go to college from up to a master's degree. And then it's capped out per class too. It's capped or per credit hour.
So I would probably just go to a state school, take 2 classes a year. And I just had a conversation with my friend Michelle where she was like, I'm the type of person who reads the book. And I found that I can't read the whole book for a class if I'm taking 5 classes. So I was taking 2 to 3 classes a semester. So let's say I'm Michelle, I'm in the Air Force. It would make sense for me to just take 2 classes a semester, go to a state school.
Mm-hmm. State schools are going to be a lot cheaper, for undergrad.
For undergrad,
when you get into postgraduate, that's just, you're not going to find most schools are, $250 up to $1,000 an hour, depending on where you go. Mm-hmm. But the military caps it out at $250 per credit hour.
Do they have a preference of degrees that they want their soldiers to be doing or not? Does the military have a preference of the degrees that their soldiers pursue or no?
No, but they do have degree plans. Mm-hmm. They have education counselors set up, and you have to go to them and tell them what school you want to go to, what degree plan you want, whatever. And it has to get it also be approved and all that. But there's only certain schools that you're allowed to go to, I guess, for whatever accreditation purposes and all that good stuff.
So you're going for your doctorate in business administration, correct?
Yes.
What really draws you to business? How'd you get to that point?
Just what I do for the military. The whole logistics point of, from start to finish. When we want a product and we send out our request to get a product, and then we receive that product. Like, how do we get that product? Who made the price of the product? What entailed for me to order that product, you to get the request as a, let's just say a pen. Mm-hmm. You made the pen and now you sent the pen to me. Who made that price? Why did it take so long for me to get that product? Mm-hmm. And I know for the military, it's different than a civilian world because we have different contracts. We have to bid and all that, that stuff. But it's just very interesting to me, and like, why would I have to pay $1 for a pen when this company over here is paying 90 cents for a pen? Mm-hmm. Well, it could be, they're buying more pens so they get it at a cheaper rate, obviously, or does the government have to pay a higher rate than anybody else because of contracts? And why does that contract have to be different than the civilian contracts? Those types of things.
What are some examples of how civilian contracts differ from military contracts besides like supply demand? Like, is there a difference in rent in space? Is there a difference in just operations in general?
It's the way the contracts are bid. Mm-hmm. I don't really know much about it because that's actually another job. Mm-hmm. My brother would know more about that because he's dealt more with contracts through his unit. But at my level, I've never dealt really with contracts. But I know there's a bidding process and this and that, and they have to follow like all the rules and the regulations of government contracts. And so they're a little more different than it would be like, I guess an example would be like a university, right? So a public state university, they have to follow the same rules, government contracts and all that. So they have to send it out to so many people. They have to bid, get a bid, whatever, and they pick the best one. But with a private, school, you go out, you pick what you want, you do what you do, that's it, So I guess it would be similar to that, where that's what I can explain to you that way.
Yeah.
Where we have to follow these processes and procedures, where if I'm a business owner and I want to contract this, I go do what I want, and that's it. I pick who I want, So, and then as far as negotiating the price and all that, I don't know how all that gets played into it.
Yeah. When the looting and the rioting started, I remember we had this conversation as far as I was like, The looters are looting, the rioters are rioting, but you brought up an interesting point about how, let's say there's a target in a socioeconomic area that they get looted, they can pay off that rent. There's going to be an increase in that rent and they can pay off their insurance and all that. Can you talk a little bit about the harm that causes to the community?
You mean why the target can't and why small businesses can't?
Yeah.
So that's just, I mean, from my thought that it's simple business from the way I look at it, because Target's a corporation, so they have, X amount of dollars that if this business gets destroyed or whatever and the products get stolen, they can write it off. They have insurance policies. They can afford to pay these things. For smaller businesses, sometimes they have insurance, but their policy may not cover, looting or, somebody burning down your building or whatever. And then they don't have capital because they could be starting out. They could be within their first couple of years, which is the hardest time for a business, and they don't have the capital to go back and rebuild and this and that, or their insurance policy may not be enough because, they're expensive. So it may not be enough to bring their business back, So I think it's harder for smaller businesses. And then if these things keep occurring, does that small business want to come back? Do they want to go through working 14, 15 hours a day to get that business started and this and that? All the blood, sweat, and tears that people put into their small business, do they want to go through that again? And then the other thing too is if you're renting a space, if this person here owns this shopping mall, they may sell it. Then the rent may go up.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. So that could be another thing. Or that person that owned the shopping mall didn't have insurance on the building or the proper insurance on the building. So now they can't rebuild. So now you can't rebuild because you only had the insurance as, like the homeowner or a renter. You only had on the stuff within the store, so you're covered on that part. But now you have nowhere to put it because now this business can't rebuild because this person didn't have the correct or right insurance on, this shopping mall, or they don't want to rebuild. So it's a double-edged sword with, being a small business owner versus being a corporation, because you have more dollars that you can spend.
I think there's a pros and cons to being a big business owner versus a small business owner. And I don't know as far as where I lean. I think from a quote unquote left point of view, I would want to be a small business owner, like a mom and pop shop that knows my community and is familiar with those who I serve. And I'm the one who's making every item in the store and I know the ins and outs of the operations versus a big corporation. But then you look at a big corporation, they can pump out way more product at a faster rate, probably can provide their customer, or not their customers, their employees health insurance, benefits, dental, vision, which I don't know how many small companies really can do that. And that's just an ignorance from, I'm not a big business person. I don't know that much about business as integrally.
Right. Well, I have a couple of friends that have small businesses, and they went, they had 5 or 6 employees, like mechanic shops or different shops like that. And when they were required to give people, like you're talking about, health insurance and this and that, you work over X amount of hours a week, they put them on part-time because they couldn't afford to pay, the extra money to put them on health insurance, because then they would have to either cut employees, so I got 5, now I got 3. How's that helping me? But I'm paying these people insurance. These other 2 people that may have needed that 30 hours a week, now they don't have that job. So, they put everybody on part-time, 30 hours a week, and negated the whole trying to give everybody insurance so they could stay open and so they could provide these people with jobs, within the community. I guess it just depends on what you want out of business. Do you want, like you said, do you want to be that pillar of the community? Do you want to be that person that provides a service to the community? You enjoy what you do. It's not really about the money, but you are making money because, to be honest, businesses, people get into business and make money. They don't just do it to be doing it. say what they want to, but nobody does nothing for free.
Mm.
Well, I guess some people do, but but then if you're a big business, you have a lot more problems than the smaller business, because you could get sued because you just made, let's say this Yeti cup,
Mm-hmm.
you made it and the lid's malfunction is cutting people. So now you get sued, but you didn't know anything about it as a business owner because it's, one of your managers made a contract with China or whoever to make it. And it, they made it out of the wrong type of material. So now the material is breaking down. You deal with that aspect. You deal with people stealing money from you, people not doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get into the whole more employees you have, more problems you have. Just like we're seeing like with the Washington Redskins, prime example. You got a lot of employees. This guy don't even. Well, he says he doesn't know what's going on, but they've had all these sexual harassment allegations, and they've said it's been going on for years. What have you been doing for years? Like, you say you don't know, but I mean, that's the one of the chances you take by owning a bigger business. The more employees, the more problems you're going to have. And if you don't think you're going to have problems, then you're just naive, because those problems are going to arise.
I never heard it like that, though. The more employees you have, the more problems you have. I've always heard more money, more problems. But if you look at like even Ellen DeGeneres, like all that stuff that's going on right now, where staff are coming up and being like, no, this is like a very toxic environment and it's nothing like it's portrayed. And then she comes out with, in my opinion, kind of a soft apology of like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like I didn't realize it was getting that bad and that's not the intention. But I'm like, your name's on it. Come on. Like, you have to know.
Or
like,
you could look the other way and say that, oh, well, maybe she's that naive. Maybe she's that, not stupid, but maybe she's that naive where she only cares about certain things and she lets, this guy and this girl handle these operations, and those are the only two people she talks to. She doesn't talk to anybody else. So that information never gets to her.
Yeah.
So
that's super concerning to me, though.
Yes, that would be, yes. Especially with the amount of money they're bringing in on revenue for ads and all that stuff, and the guests they're bringing in, especially high-profile guests. That just very concerning. And as the show grew over the years, they got more employees, they got more this and that. So, or maybe she just didn't, like you said, maybe she just didn't care. She knew. She just like, whatever.
She's like, well, it's not my problem, essentially. It's like I hire these people to take care of these operations. And she kind of maybe you're right, being naive and just trusting, like, I saw their resume and they're good at what they do. Like, not thinking, like, how are they good at what they do? Do they demoralize their employees? Do they build a culture and a community among the environment that they're working? But even so, I knew something was up when she stopped dancing in the audience. So that was my flag. But who am I?
Yeah, she just it was concerning for me from the aspect of, you're running this organization, you should know what people are doing, or if she knew about it and she didn't know it was that bad, right? What did you do to fix the problem when you first found out about it? Like, this is something you need to address, but you never hear what they did to address it. You can put on a statement. A statement doesn't mean anything to me. You're just trying to get the news media to move on,
right?
Away and take that away from your business. But what did you do to fix it? What are your internal processes?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll never know, but.
Do you manage people? Are you a supervisor?
Yes and no. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have, in my position that I have right now, I technically have 5 people that I work with, and I can have them do things, but I don't write their evaluation, because at my level, I just manage. So basically, our boss, the battalion commander, I'm his eyes and ears for the logistics portion of the battalion, right? So I make sure that they're doing everything they need to do within the regulations to make ensure they're mission capable to go and do their job if something happens.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can guide them, teach them, coach, mentor, all those good things